From Variety, celebrating more than 118 years covering the business of entertainment, this is the Award Circuit Podcast. Ask Seth Meyers to put together a top 10 list of his favorite pizza moments, and you're in for quite a ride, such as his entry at number 6.
The job of pizza delivery. I was a pizza delivery boy in high school. Greatest job in the world. I should say to the kids out there, it is wildly divergent from any ideas pornography might have given you as far as what it's like to be a pizza delivery boy, but it was the open road, the smell of pizza, cash on the barrelhead, a lot of tips. I loved it. Best job I ever had until SNL.
I'm Michael Schneider, and on this episode of the award-winning Variety Award Circuit Podcast, we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Late Night with Seth Meyers over a Chicago feast, courtesy the fine folks at Gino's East in Sherman Oaks, California. Over Chicago dogs, Italian beef, and deep dish, we gain even more insight into Seth Meyers, including his culinary lifestyle. It's all next on this edition of the Variety Award Circuit Podcast. Stay close. Seth Meyers recently renewed his deal with NBC Universal to host Late Night with Seth Meyers through 2028. Late Night with Seth Meyers has received 2 Critics' Choice Awards, 7 Writers Guild of America Award nominations, and 11 Emmy nominations for the show and its digital series Corrections. The series has earned acclaim for Meyers' monologue, as well as segments like Day Drinking with Seth and A Closer Look.
Fox News was forced to admit that the economy is booming under Joe Biden after a blockbuster jobs report on Friday that stunned everyone, and yet Donald Trump is still somehow trying to take credit for the good economic news, which has left even some Fox hosts bewildered. For more on this, it's time for A Closer Look. We are living in weird times dominated by weird people who talk about weird. For like an entire week, the biggest topic of conversation in right-wing media was the MAGA conspiracy theory that the Super Bowl was somehow rigged for the Chiefs so that Taylor Swift could endorse Joe Biden, which is obviously insane. The Super Bowl hasn't been rigged since 2011 when my Steelers lost to the Packers in a game which was obviously rigged. And if you don't believe me, feel free to order my handwritten manifesto on the subject, available only on the dark web because the man doesn't want you to read about it. Even Joe Biden has noticed how weird things have gotten thanks to Trump and his goons.
You know, the folks are starting to focus in. And the guy we're running against, he's not for anything. He's against everything. No, I mean it. It's the weirdest campaign I've ever been engaged in.
Yeah, it's the weirdest campaign I've ever covered, and I've already covered 2 other Donald Trump campaigns.
Meyers recently celebrated his 10-year anniversary as host of Late Night with Seth Meyers, which launched on February 24, 2014. For this episode of Variety's Award Circuit Podcast, I initially thought it would be fun to recreate day drinking in our studios, but then I realized that might be an HR problem. So instead, inspired by our bond as mutual Northwestern University alums, we grabbed some Chicago deep dish pizza to create a Day Eating with Seth segment. The fine folks at the Los Angeles outpost of Chicago pizza eatery Gino's East decided to do us one better. Co-owners Dan Michaels and Todd Himmel showed up with Chicago hot dogs and Italian beef sandwiches, as well as several deep dish pizzas and even some thin-crust Chicago-style tavern pizzas. It was a Windy City feast, and you can hear us debating the pros and cons of Chicago Eats with Dan and Todd on the mics as well. We began with some Italian beef sandwiches and went from there.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I feel bad for the listeners if they can't smell
I know.
Podcast, this audio recording.
So the original plan was we were basically going to steal Day Drinking with Seth and Day Drink. Mm-hmm. And then we realized that my HR wasn't going to allow that.
No, I can't believe mine does.
I can't either.
Yeah.
And the number one question you always get is, are you really drinking? And yes, you are.
I am really drinking. And this is a shameful thing that I probably shouldn't admit. More often than not, we have to edit out shots I do because we feel the moment where the audience starts to worry about my well-being.
Starts to turn. So yeah, my HR is not as generous as yours.
That's good.
And so, take 2, Day Eating with Seth.
And for the better. Let's be honest, for the better. Although I'm at an age now where even food is giving me a hangover. So it's not like I'm going to feel any better tomorrow, but I'm more excited about it than if we had a row of shots.
Yeah, this is not going to help my Noom.com I don't know if
Exactly.
you've heard about that, but that's the new thing where I'm checking my daily caloric
Okay.
intake.
Well, I got one of those rings you wear that tells you, how you're doing as far as readiness and sleep. And it's a disaster.
How are you doing?
It's fine, but I feel like as though I'm living in service to a ring. Like I'm fully Gollum at this point in my life. Whatever the ring tells me, I believe, and I feel like the ring is not going to be happy about this meal.
Yeah. But you're about to go on a plane. You're going to be sitting somewhere for hours on end.
Quick shout out to my seatmates. Quick shout out to everybody in row 9 on the latest Delta flight out of LAX.
You brought them Italian beef.
I don't think I'm going to actually bring it. I think I'm going to bring the downside of it.
Bring the magic.
Yeah, the post.
So, Seth, of course, last time you were here, we talked a little bit about our shared Northwestern backstory.
Yes.
I
Go
shared
Cats.
the photo that I still have of you from the Facebook from 1997, where you look remarkably the same.
Well, that's very kind of you. You can tell it's me. I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unlike your graduation photo, which I also have, where you were going through your mullet stage.
Yes. Although, I took me a long time, but I am sort of wearing my hair swept back. Like it's like everybody who turns 50, I'm desperately now trying to hang on to my youth in a way that's hard for people to watch.
And kudos to still having hair.
Well, thank you very much. That's
which
kind
is
of you to say.
Fantastic. My kids just the other day were asking me again. So have you tried anything? Did you do Propecia back in the day? And
That's really nice. That's really nice that they're so concerned.
They're very, very concerned.
Yeah.
But so Chicago, how many years did you stay in Chicago? How long did you stick around after NU?
Let's see. So I graduated in 96, and by April of 97, so not even a full year, I left for Boom Chicago, the Chicago inspired theater in Amsterdam that was started by Chicago guys.
Yeah.
So I spent a full 2 years there, and then I came back to Chicago, and I think it was about another year and a half before I decided it was time to move to LA and try to find fame and fortune here.
But nonetheless, you spent some good years in Chicago.
Incredibly formative, incredibly important years in Chicago. That first 8 months or 10 months, I was going to go to Chicago. I'm going to be an improviser. The thing I wanted more than anything in my life was to be at Second City. And so I was just sitting there waiting for my shot. And I'm very lucky. I had a friend, Pete Gross, who's a really funny comedian. And he was the one who said, if somebody's going to pay us to do comedy in Amsterdam, I feel like it would be crazy to miss that opportunity. And I'm so glad I had that in my life.
That is still the weirdest thing, by the way. I've heard about that through the years. Boom Chicago. Does that still exist, by the way?
It does. It just hit its last summer was its 30th anniversary. And I went back to spend time there. But it was incredible because it was like, I don't know, like one of those tech incubators where you bring out a bunch of people and they don't have the distractions of their friends and family because they're in a new place. And, I was out there with people like Jordan Peele and Jason, not just Jason Sudeikis, but Joe Kelly and Brendan Hunt, who ended up co-creating Ted Lasso with him. They were all out there at the same time as me. And it was just a really great place because you're in one of the greatest cities in the world, but you're also still surrounded by American comedians who just were very single-mindedly trying to make Dutch people laugh, which is the hardest thing in the world.
And you're high the entire time.
You're
right?
not high. It turns out getting high is not. I actually never found it a helpful tool for creativity.
Yeah.
Some of my friends and castmates did. The one thing I definitely learned is high audiences are overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually don't want a stoned audience when you're trying to do comedy.
Yeah.
Because they'll just laugh at the outfits. They're not. But your verbal timing is not impressive to them.
Yeah, and not the clever riffs.
No, they're not. Yeah, they like the hats.
That's funny. Well, so Chicago, of course, known for its comedy, known for its theater, but also known for its food.
Yes, known for its healthy, plant-based foods.
That's what I think of when I want to go on a diet. I pick up that Taste of Chicago flyer that they seem to always send to my house.
Yes. I'm sure, by the way, in the, now 30 years since I've called it home, I guess a little bit less than 30, but I'm sure there's a lot of healthy options in Chicago. But
who wants that?
When I left, green juice was the beer they gave you on St. Patrick's Day. That was the closest thing they had.
So what was your kind of Chicago diet at the time in school? Like, did you gravitate towards the Chicago pizza?
The pizza was, I think the pizza was the most exciting thing. Again, when you're the age you go to college, the very fact that you found a different style of pizza, I don't even think it occurred to me that anyone was doing something different than the pizza I'd eaten my whole life. And so, deep dish pizza was, when you had a little extra money in your pocket, that was the thing you'd splurge on.
Yeah, and I think at the time in Evanston, we had Carmen's, we had Giordano's.
Yep, that seems right.
Don't know, we had to go downtown for anything else.
Yeah.
But, Carmen's was sort of like the vaunted one, and Giordano's was sort of the, if you really need it. Yeah.
But, if you were somewhere, if there was sort of a student organization that had a pizza night, the amount of extra meetings I went to for organizations that I cared not a bit for, if there was a deep dish pizza there, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, because that would feed you both meals. Yeah. So, well, look who we have in the studio. We brought along two gentlemen who know a thing or two about Chicago pizza. So Dan and Todd, who brought Gino's East to Los Angeles, to Sherman Oaks in particular, a couple of years ago. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Give us real quick the story of bringing Gino's East to L.A. How'd that happen?
Well, we've known each other since we were 14. We went to summer camp in Western Michigan.
Fantastic.
And he came out here to write TV. I did radio for 40 years, but we've always wanted to do something together. And Los Angeles is a bit of a pizza desert. And he'd gotten tired of writing. I'd gotten tired of radio. And we decided we're going to open this thing up. And it's been very successful. We opened up right before COVID.
Oh, smart.
But
that was good.
Because we knew. But we had lines down the block. We had 2-hour waits. And then one night we had to shift to delivery and takeout. But it worked. We got through it. Now everybody's coming back in. It's real nice. We're in Sherman Oaks, right off the 101.
Did you consider calling yourselves Gino's West when you moved to LA?
Yeah, we did. And then we figured copyright infringement. And people would go, oh, you're just a knockoff of, Gino's East.
See.
And so, so that, we wanted the name. We wanted the legitimacy of it. I just really wanted to know that, when I was working in TV at the time, that I could, order a good pizza, that, we didn't just have crappy pizza at night. And then it was just you know what? I'll just skip the room and just go to the pizza. So
there is some good pizza in LA, though. I take offense to the pizza desert, but
you were just saying before this started how much you love California Pizza Kitchen. That's your. I mean, it was off mic, but that was
who ironically was started by a Chicagoan. So,
here's my crazy. The first SNL cast member I ever met in person. In college, I was in a California Pizza Kitchen, and Tim Kazurinsky was there with his kids. And I was and I went over and introduced myself. And at the time, I thought, well, that's it. That's as close as I'm ever getting to SNL. I got to meet Tim Kazurinsky while he was having dinner with his children.
Yeah. And he said, "You're going places, kid."
He was very polite. And I always try to remember those moments where you do the thing that people, as they come over and say, "I'm so sorry to interrupt you when you're with your children." Yeah. I always remember that I did, in fact, do that to Tim Kazurinsky. And so I should try to be as polite as he was.
And did you take a photo with him, or did you?
No, because it was the late 90s and I didn't have a camera with me. You know what I mean? I didn't have my instant Kodak camera.
Yeah. I forgot there was an era where you could.
There was an era if you walked over and said, "Can I get a picture with you?" and you had a camera, people just assumed you had you were a serial killer. Yes. I bring my camera to meals.
On the off chance I
meet a
Tim
celebrity.
Kazurinsky.
Yeah, in the suburbs of
now
Chicago.
Everybody's taking pictures of their meals.
Yeah, now that's true. They don't even. They just want to take pictures of the food now.
Yeah. So we talked about pizza, but first, before we get to the pizza, Chicago is also known for their dogs and for their Italian beef.
Yep.
And we have a little bit of everything here, courtesy Gino's East.
So you guys have it all.
We got it all. It's Bono beef, which is, all around Chicago, Toronto bread, which most of the Chicago places use, Vienna hot dogs.
All right. So do you think the bread's the most important part of the...
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
Absolutely. Because if you run out of bread and you put it on another bread, you quickly realize.
All right. What am I putting?
Put a little au jus on there, maybe.
Where's the au jus?
Right there on the little cup there for you.
I think these cups are empty.
Pretend.
All right. Okay, great. We edit that out. Here goes the au jus. All right. And then...
All right, so you put that and then also the peppers, right? Do you put the peppers on it as well?
You can if you like this. The
Jardinera has a little bit of a
I'm gonna
kick.
pepper it up.
That's Chicago.
Yeah.
And have you found it hard to get the bread out here?
We have our distributor actually comes from Chicago,
Okay, great.
and then they eventually make their way down here. We bring all our sausage in from Chicago.
Yeah, and what would you say is like the quintessential? Is it Italian beef? Is it dogs? Is it what is like the quintessential Chicago food?
I feel like Italian beef, hot dogs are like a thing you can eat on the fly and, you can run. But Chicago, there's nothing like Italian beef in Chicago. Everybody has some sort of a hot dog, but Italian beef is just so, when I first came out here and I asked somebody, hey, do you have an Italian beef? They said, well, I got beef. I'm Italian, and they had no idea what it was. So you start to see it thanks to the bear. You start to see it other places. But, prior to that, there was nothing out here like this. So, yeah, I think that is the quintessential Chicago sandwich.
That's a good point. Has the bear changed things? Do more people now come in and want Italian beef because of the bear?
Originally, in Chicago, they go, why do you want to do Italian beef there? They go, we don't sell much. I go, well, you got it on every corner there. So we put it in. It was huge. And then the bear came on and it doubled. And then the New York Times called. I don't know why they called us in Los Angeles, but they quoted us and it went up even higher. And it stayed that way. Once people try it, they really love it.
I think the important thing about the bread, too, is it's so soft. And I think one of the biggest mistakes restaurants make when they try to do a fancier version of something is just the very hard bread that you then are very aware of the bread. There's it's the same thing with why egg sandwich is the best from a bodega in New York City. It's just one of those rolls that by the time you actually eat it, it just has become melded with the cheese, melded with the egg, and this is the best.
And if you dip it, people are they're just basically holding on to liquid by the end, in their hands.
But that's how you want the sandwich to start to eat itself. And so you can just swallow it. You don't even have to chew at some point.
And that's why they disappear so quickly.
So let's talk about hot dogs. So Seth, what's your take on the hot dog? Are you into the whole Chicago thing of tomatoes? You got a pickle, you got some peppers, you got some onions. Safe space. Safe space.
I don't love it.
Yeah.
I like it as hey, I'm back in Chicago, let's go get a Chicago dog. But it's not a thing that I ever, when I'm making a hot dog for my kids, I'm never let's cut up the tomato now.
Yeah. Do you still eat many hot dogs, or do you feel
because now the children, a hot dog is a good, easy meal. And so on a Sunday afternoon, we will grill a hot dog. And I do still enjoy eating a hot dog a great deal. Perfect for me, though, is just a hot dog with mustard and relish.
No ketchup, though, right?
No ketchup.
Okay, so that's good, right? I think that's where some things. It's been 30 years since I lived in Chicago, but one of the things that stuck with me from living in Chicago all those years ago is do not put ketchup on your hot dog. Yeah. That's a crime.
Yeah, we won't serve it that way
against humanity.
People try to get around it by going, oh, it's for the fries, but
no,
we just kick them out.
Yeah.
I will say, even taking a bite of a Chicago hot dog, though, does remind me of one of my favorite pieces of comedy from Conan's show, which was when Triumph went to Wiener Circle with Triumph.
That was
He was a dear friend of mine. Yeah. And so, if you've never seen that, go check that out.
Definitely go to the YouTubes. Triumph is also a good friend of yours.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's very misunderstood.
Yeah. Here in LA, it's all about the Dodger dog. Which is good.
It's long.
Mm-hmm. It's good, and you want to get it grilled, and you got to get it at the Dodgers game. But otherwise, I kind of
it's so easy to get there. That's the nice thing.
Yeah,
just never any traffic. Just pop over to Dodger Stadium, get yourself a dog.
I will not have you beseech Los Angeles.
Well, the nice thing about these Vienna beefs is the snap that you get when you bite into it.
It is a good snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I have. So my dad's from Pittsburgh, and I do want to give a shout out to my favorite hot dog was a place in Pittsburgh called The Original, which they shut down during COVID. So lovely that you guys managed to thrive through COVID, and that was one of the saddest things about certainly about restaurant closures during COVID.
There weren't pierogies on them.
They were pierogies on them. A pierogi is ultimately an underwhelming food that sounds exciting until you bite into your first one.
I know. Yeah.
But
the races at the ballpark with them is.
oh, that's great. But that was the reason I brought it up. That was a real snap of a hot dog that had that natural casing and very hard to find.
We lost a lot of good restaurants during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been curious about that green relish on the Chicago dog, because that's not natural, right?
It is not at all natural. I mean, it's a natural food dye that they use. I don't know, like, I can't remember the origins of it. I think it was like maybe Fluky's was the first one to do it.
Maybe, yeah.
And then everybody just says that we got to do it too.
It's almost like they had to match the art of the hot dogs that they have. I will say that one of the reasons to have all the toppings on a hot dog is how good it looks on a sign.
It's
It is
pretty
beautiful.
At a Chicago.
And the buns are, I love the poppy seed bun.
Yeah. It looks like you're getting your money's worth. Like this is a meal. I'm not 12 anymore.
Yeah.
I need some sort of class to my hot
It's
dog.
nutritious.
Yeah.
So there's more green on it than you're used to.
Yeah. There's veggies. I mean,
They call it raked through the garden is what the description of a Chicago dog is.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I am enjoying this more than my memory had served.
Oh, you're kind of coming around on the Chicago dog. No. And you took another bite of the Italian beef. So far,
This has all been, fantastic.
What is your food? What is your diet like these days, Seth? Are you a big foodie, or do you have time to hit like the big
I would
restaurants?
say I'm not. You know what? Actually, my favorite. There's a restaurant in New York City called For Charles Prime Rib, which is sort of Chicago inspired, and it feels like one of those great old Chicago restaurants, and that is one of my favorite places to go. We always, the nice thing about New York City is we always try to go to the new restaurants whenever the New York Times has a list of the 100 best. My wife and I like to go through and circle ones where we think like the cuisine might match up with our styles and tastes. But during the day, I do love a bodega egg and cheese. I don't like bacon, but I read a chef once said the key to it is you get it, they wrap it in the tinfoil, and then you give it like 15 minutes because like the heat, it stays hot and it just sort of becomes like everything becomes one. And so that is twice a week. I sort of treat myself to that as my jump start into the day.
And what does your cholesterol say about that?
You know what? I have had some cholesterol issues and I got it down. So what I'm leaving out is I used to have it every day and now I'm having it too.
That is your nod.
Yeah.
Because you haven't hit the big 5-0 yet.
I have.
You have?
I hit it in December.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So this is it. You're seeing me.
Yeah. Because I thought because I just hit 50 as well. I for some reason thought I was a year or two older than you.
No,
but
I got there.
How does it feel?
Just, I mean, it feels better when I'm eating the food of my youth. Yeah. This isn't, I'm like, look, it's not much has changed.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad I have a kindred spirit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, I feel okay.
I feel okay.
Yeah.
I felt, it was, which the number that was the hardest for me was 46.
40, really?
46 is the first time where I'm like, well, it's official.
Because that's the year Clinton became president, was when he was 46?
No, I just feel like I tipped over into it just felt like all of a sudden I was running downhill.
The late 40s. Yeah.
I somehow in my head, I was like, do I even want to be alive at 92? In which case I'm halfway.
And now it's not even close. We are beyond middle age. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless science catches up, which it could, but nonetheless, we're on the other side.
We're on the other side.
So you're looking at retirement, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, we should look. You guys want to go grab some of the pizzas?
Great, thank you guys.
Yeah, and while you guys grab that, we're going to have a deep conversation about pizza.
Great.
Because this is what the kids came for. This is what the audiences are tuning in for. You brought notes.
Because you gave me an assignment.
Yes. And this is, I mean, in an age where we can't talk about much anymore. We can't talk about politics. We can't talk about, the global geopolitical situation.
I never even mention politics on my show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a closer look is nothing but food recommendations.
Yeah, it's all foods now.
Yeah, which is probably where we're going to have to head.
Yeah, exactly.
Particularly after this year.
Good. One more closer look about sandwiches.
Yeah. Next year, if you want to stay out of prison, that may be where you have to go. But for now, controversial. Let's talk.
Do you want controversy? I don't have controversy. I have a top 10 list. But I can say I'll have a few. You want to? I don't know if it's controversial. I don't want I don't want to slice a tomato on my pizza. That's what the tomato sauce is for.
Yeah.
So I don't like that.
Okay. And we'll get to, the biggest one, almost the cliche now is to talk about the pineapple.
Yeah.
So why don't we kind of, we
Do you want me to have my take on pineapple?
yeah, let's hear the take.
If you like it, order it. For me, it's not my favorite, but also if I went to a party and there was only that, I would eat it.
So you're chill, like
I'm
you're
chill.
accepting.
Yeah. In general, I don't have any hard, fast rules about what people should eat if they like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very woke of you, Seth Meyers. You're
Yeah,
pizza woke.
Totally pizza woke.
So what is your relationship with pizza?
What is my relationship with pizza? I love pizza very much. It's an interesting time because the kids are at an age where when you just can't deal with trying to get them to eat something healthy, you can just collapse back. You just fall back on pizza. So I feel like I've had a nice uptick in how much pizza I'm eating.
It's a parent's best friend.
Yeah.
Almost fails.
I'm always very excited to have pizza. There's never been a time in my life where I've been over pizza.
Do you have a childhood pizza memory? Like you guys went to Pizza Hut every week and, drank out of those red cups?
I don't know if you're going to make me do my top 10 list of pizza, but I do. Number 9 on my list of things is my childhood pizza.
All right.
There was a place called Marblehead House of Pizza, which is in Marblehead, Massachusetts. And I think New England pizza kind of gets overlooked for its different styles. And it's really...
Yeah, I don't even know what New England pizza
is. And it had the hamburger pizza. The topping was sort of like ground beef.
Uh-huh.
And my mom, every time she would visit our grandmother, she would drive back with one large hamburger Marblehead House pizza. And so that was a thrilling. We were almost excited for her to visit our grandmother, not because we thought our grandmother deserved to see her daughter. We just were happy that pizza was going to come back.
And she knew that. And that's why she was bribing you
she knew
the entire time. Yeah. All right. So top 10 pizzas. It was a pretty broad assignment because it could be anything. It could be topping. It could be a specific brand of pizza. I kind of just wanted to get your hot take on 10 best pizzas.
Okay. Number 10.
Number 10.
Just a large plastic container of crushed red chili flakes. I want that.
Just that.
I just want that at my pizza place. I want to, just to be able to red chili flake any slice of pizza I have.
Yeah.
I want it to be nearby. That's a really important thing.
How are you like, because I like spice.
Right.
So I go
very excited.
nuts.
One's showing up. I go nuts too.
Yeah.
I also like that it's gratis. I feel like I'm pulling one over on the pizza place every time the red chili flakes get set down.
Yeah,
I just think to myself, you suckers have no idea.
You bring a Ziploc bag and you just pour it in there.
By the way, I don't need Ziploc. I would never take it home. I just don't think they appreciate how much I'm going to put on my pizza there. And it makes me very excited to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if this is spoiling what you talk about later, but how do you feel about the Parmesan cheese?
Less.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost never touched.
Yeah. Same.
And then what's the third worst one? Is it oregano at some places?
Yeah.
Just a total zero. What's the point? Yeah. What is the point?
It adds some color to it.
The 3 next to each other look very nice.
Yeah.
I just think every kid in the world most kids aren't ready for spicy. Go nuts with the cheese. Then they think, this can't wait to taste this. And then they just realize it's the parsley of pizza topping. It's not really adding anything.
It's when you grow up, when you eschew the Parmesan cheese and you just focus on the red peppers. That's when you're an adult.
I agree. Yes.
So, all right. We love it.
Crushed red chili flakes. Marblehead House of Pizza
was number 9.
That was my number 9.
Does that place still exist?
It does still exist. I did have to Google it on my way over here to make sure it still existed. Yeah. Also, this is a side. This is still number 9. Frank Pepe's is a Connecticut pizza that I like a lot out of New Haven, and they sort of dotted all around Connecticut. Yeah. So shout out to New England pizza. All right, number 8 is a little bit of a deeper cut. I've got 3 kids. My middle, Axel's crusts. Axel will not eat all the way down to the crust. He'll leave I would say like an eighth of each pizza slice. So at the end of a pizza meal, I can still get, I feel like a full extra slice out of Axel's crusts.
Yeah.
So I appreciate
it's not just the crust.
He doesn't get all the way down to the crust. I feel like he leaves like one last sort of tranche of pizza. And so I'm very excited when I get home and see the pizza. Like basically Axel's plate is a good one to feed myself, because mostly my wife's like, wait until the kids have finished their pizza before you have any, and then there's just none left, and so I'm basically foraging through Axel's plate.
As we called them when we were kids, pizza bones.
Yeah,
and the question is, as an adult, does that feel like empty carbs?
It doesn't even matter to me. I think what's empty is the reasoning that the dad doesn't get any pizza. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but like my kids definitely didn't pay for it.
Yeah. It's like the old Chris Rock piece of chicken routine.
Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
I paid for this pizza. Why aren't I getting the biggest slice?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So that was number 8.
Okay.
Number 7 is a topping. I like when the sausage has a fennel seed in the sausage. I like that. Makes me feel a little bit fancier. I like that part.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah. No, it kind of gives that nice, like, licoricey.
Like, there's a chef back there. They wouldn't just be fennel if this was a tradesman.
Yeah. All right. So fennel on the sausage. Number 7. All right.
Number 6.
Number 6.
The job of pizza delivery.
The job.
I was a pizza delivery man. Boy. I was a pizza delivery boy in high school. Greatest job in the world.
Yeah.
Loved it so much. Driving around my suburban town, listening to books on tape, meeting fun people. I should say to the kids out there, it is wildly divergent from any ideas pornography might have given you as far as what it's like to be a pizza delivery boy. But it was the open road, the smell of pizza, cash on the barrelhead, a lot of tips. The end of a shift at a pizza, you bring home, we would get a Pizza Bella in Bedford, New Hampshire, get to bring home a small pizza topping of our choice and just a handful of dollar bills. It was a thrill. I loved it. Best job I ever had.
Yeah.
Until SNL.
So it was pizza. So SNL number 1.
Pizza delivery number 2.
Yeah. Pizza
Late.
Bella?
Pizza Bella.
Pizza
Yep.
Bella. Okay.
Then late night.
Then number 3. Exactly. That makes sense.
Yes. Are you ready?
All right. So what are we at?
Number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. Right after you have a baby, this is a gift. Send somebody a frozen deep dish pizza. A lot of does Gino's eat?
We do.
Yes, we do.
So that is my bassist in the HE band, Sid Butler, sent us a bunch of deep dish Chicago pizzas that we had in our freezer. He's like, somebody sent this to us when we had our first baby. And if you're up in the middle of the night and you're starving, you just throw this thing in the oven and you'll be very happy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when I've never been happy is an hour after I've eaten a deep dish pizza.
You're asleep.
Yeah, you're asleep, and it's not the best dreams you've ever had.
Yeah. Well, and again, hopefully that means you'll be right on a plane an hour after you eat some of this.
Yes, that's true.
So,
oh boy. This is just an honorable mention.
Yeah.
The New York pizza slices, the slice places where they just have them on display. There's always sort of the optimism of the one weird pizza that's sort of like broccoli and fontina cheese that nobody seems to have ever gone near. For all you know that, the display one has been there since the place opened.
Yeah.
And I just they could definitely make it if they were just cheese and pepperoni, but there's some artist in the kitchen who's just trying something new every day.
I appreciate that, though.
So it doesn't make my top 10, but I do appreciate they're still trying to get people to have new experiences.
So honorable mention.
That's an honorable mention.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I'm on number 4.
Number 4.
Again, I went outside. The Totina's pizza roll sketch with Vanessa Bayer and Kristen Stewart. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite pizza comedy in the last 10 years.
Favorite pizza comedy.
Go back. Give it a look.
Go back to YouTube. Okay.
Number 3, I know this is a shameful thing to say in front of actual pizza professionals. If you're a college student and you're a little bit stoned, a Tombstone pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like the flat, crispy Tombstone pizza, obviously it's not, restaurant quality, but I think if you're a little bit stoned, that's about perfect pizza.
Yeah.
With a little doctoring of it. Just so you put a little bit of extra sauce
just
on
a
it.
little bit, yeah. Don't.
It's like, I made this.
Yeah, it's almost, I think almost make it to be like, this isn't done yet.
Yeah.
It's for you to help with.
Yeah, well, I think because frozen pizza technology has greatly improved since when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and what was there was Red Baron. There's a couple others that were
Tony's was one that we had a lot of,
and it was always kind of terrible. But you were a kid, and you're like, it's cheese and sauce on the crust. So, but try some frozen pizzas now, especially from like either Trader Joe's. Pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
All right.
So, all right. So that was number 4.
That was number 3.
Number 3. Okay.
Number 2 is the small pepperonis that sort of curl up and make like a little cup of oil. Like a little, I like those a lot. I get excited when I see that.
That is.
What did you call them? What is it?
Cup and crisp.
Cup and crisp. There you go. That's a perfect. That's it.
Up and they crisp.
There you go. I love a cup and crisp pepperoni.
All right. Well, before we get to number 1, let's tease it for the kids. Let's try some of this Gino Z. So let's get a slice. So when was the last time you had some Chicago pizza?
The last time I've had actual hot Chicago pizza has been probably 2 years ago. I went back April of 22. So yeah.
Yeah. Last time you were in Chicago?
Last time I was in Chicago. I'm going in June. I'm going to do stand up at the Vic in Chicago. Oh. And I'm very excited to go back.
Very cool.
Great comedy crowds in Chicago. Always have been.
Yeah. Now you mentioned you like a sausage and
I'm very happy.
In the sausage. That's a patty sausage in there.
The patty sausage in the deep dish. I will say a deep dish pizza without sausage, I feel almost is beside the point. The patty sausage is such a novel invention.
Here, don't forget your red pepper.
I was so excited about my first pepper.
As the pizza experts, what do you guys feel about when people just drown their pizza with red pepper or with cheese? Because I drown mine with red pepper.
It's your own taste.
Oh yeah, I love red pepper. I try to make pizzas spicier and spicier.
Yeah,
like with ghost peppers once?
Yeah, we've played with ghost peppers. We played with habanero jack. I love a good spicy.
That sounds good.
I feel like, does this sound about right? In the last 10 years, honey has been showing up on pizzas a lot.
Yeah. Hot honey. Hot honey is a big thing now, yeah.
Do you guys, is that something you provide at your place?
We're working on it. I mean, if we have it for ourselves.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a Chicago.
Yeah. But, because there's a little extra crust, it's perfect for dipping the hot honey in the extra crust.
But the weird thing is when we sell the pizzas, we sell a lot of ranch dressing. I mean, that's uniquely American.
Yeah.
Everybody.
That's a very big.
Yeah, that's become a thing, right? Everyone now dips their crust in ranch dressing.
I said I wasn't going to judge anything. I think that's gross.
Yeah,
I do. I think if you put, I think ordering ranch dressing.
It's in the ketchup on your hot dog.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I could see dipping the crust in more marinara sauce.
I also think maybe ranch dressing was the first thing, even as a kid, where I thought this is bad in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
I think this is bad for the world.
No, the only thing that's worse is blue cheese dressing. Blue cheese, anything blue cheese is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
So I don't understand it. Never will.
There you go.
By the way, pulling the curtain back a little bit real quick, our two lovely camera people today are also both Northwestern folks. So Selena is a current student at Northwestern, and Ethan graduated a couple years ago. Ethan is my colleague who a couple weeks ago asked me, when did you graduate again? And followed up with, I think my mom was at Northwestern the same time you were.
I had that moment. It's happening 10 years too late. It should be noted. If I see somebody on the street wearing a Northwestern sweatshirt, I do always try to talk to them.
Yeah.
And I just have stopped asking when they go to school. I realized no one.
Yeah.
No one's on the street wearing a Northwestern sweatshirt that went where I did.
Right. in the 20th century, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the hardest things, because I live near NYU, and I didn't realize till it was too late. They are also a N-logoed school whose color is purple.
Yeah.
And so I spend the whole day getting excited. I'm like a dog who thinks its owner's home all day long. And
it never is.
It never is.
It never is a wildcat.
I'm very happy you guys brought the flat pizza as well.
Oh,
yeah. So it does feel like, because I remember growing up, Chicago pizza was always deep dish. That's it. But it's only in recent years that I've heard about the pub pizza. So tell us about the thin crust pub pizza.
It's kind of what kids you eat growing up in Chicago. I mean, and then back growing up, the deep dish was like what you went downtown. Your parents would bribe you. You're going to a play. We're going to eat fancy pizza with a knife and fork. But they were going to order a deep dish for you when they're going out on a Saturday night. So this is, pub pizza is easy. It was, cut into squares so you can have it go really far,
And it became popular after Prohibition when they're trying to get people back in the bars. They had pizzas and bakeries that they hand tossed. This was rolled, and they cut it like this so you could drink and eat at the same time. And
That's really good.
Salty,
sober up before going to the job.
I love that memory of going. So I grew up in, basically an hour outside of Boston, but we used to go to place. And so much of it for my parents was letting us know what the meal was going to be.
Yeah.
Like they could get us to the play if we were excited about, we're going to go to this place. They have fried clams. You're like, all right. Then I'll go see Les Mis.
Yeah, now get your tie. Oh.
Yeah, I love my favorite kind of thin crust is like when it's cracker crisp. Like I love me a good crispy pizza as well. There's actually a good place in, I think it's called like Mezzo or Vezzo in New York that does like that really crispy thin crust. It's hard to find. I think it's just hard to make, probably.
Exactly.
It is. You have to sheet it. I mean, like to get it really thin, you have to run it through a machine that just presses it as thin as possible.
All right, so Seth, number one pizza.
Number one. First of all, and you probably will be able to tell that you're not number one because I'm about to say this.
That's
this is wonderful. I made my list this morning.
Everybody's got their number one.
Well, I am going to keep it local to New York City. Joe's on Carmine is my favorite pizza place. And I think one of the reasons is, and because it is a meal that everybody has with their kids, my kids love it when we go to Joe's, it's a very special thing and it's in their neighborhood. And I sometimes think kids don't appreciate they live in New York City. They don't appreciate that it's, better than other places.
Yeah.
You tell them it's the greatest city in the world. And they're like, it smells bad and it's loud. But I think one day they're going to grow up and they'll be like, oh, we live like a block and a half from one of America's greatest pizza places. And I think that's very cool.
Yeah. No, New York, home of Pizza Rat. Let's not ever forget Pizza Rat. But yeah, there is something about that local place, the one that you take your kids to, that kind of becomes your favorite because it has so many memories.
Now you get a whole pie for when you get them, or
no slices, which is also really nice too. Yeah, that you don't end up.
It's fast.
Yeah, it's fast.
Yeah, and of course, people come in asking us for slices in the thin crust, and it would be about 2 by 2 because they're cut in squares.
You don't sell slices of thick either.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Nah.
Of course not.
Yeah, it's too hard. I mean, they just sit in a window and coagulate.
Yes.
And,
So
it's better to coagulate inside.
We have a mini lunch special that kind of satisfies that fast need for.
What is it?
It's a 7-inch individual deep dish that we do at lunch that can come out.
Comes with a salad and a pop.
Yeah.
Great.
So, of course, you have to do fork and knife with deep dish, but thoughts on fork and knife on just regular pizza? Again, are we going to shame people or are we?
It's a bad look.
It is a bad look, right?
I appreciate maybe some people don't want to touch pizza, but I do think it's a bad look.
Yeah, when people try to fold the deep dish, they don't really understand how the pizza works.
So, you guys not only brought pizza, but you brought.
Oh, we brought.
We got the whole.
What's the what percentage would you say is deep versus thin?
It's about 65 deep to the rest thin.
I'm surprised it's even like that low. I figured it'd probably be like 80% deep
Well,
and
it's
90%.
really good thin crust.
Yeah.
People are discovering
That is
too.
good.
Yeah.
Good thin crust. Yeah.
Yeah, we won Best Pizza in the Southland 2 years in a row from LA Times readers. So,
All right.
Somebody's picking
For a
up
new
on
place, that's really impressive.
Yeah,
it's pretty
and
exciting.
for a
Very fortunate.
Chicago, quote unquote Chicago pizza to win in Southern California, that's pretty wild. So
It is.
Although
Take-
you're the only guy holding on here to the fact that LA makes good pizza. So the rest of us, we have to be like, no, it is weird, Mike.
I'm glad you said
I
did
will
that
give a shout out to my neighborhood pizzeria, Casa Bianca in Eagle Park, in Eagle Rock. It's fantastic, thin crust, crispy
Chicago
pizza.
origins, though. I mean, he came here in the 50s. Sam, the guy who started it,
so
was
there we
from
go.
Chicago.
Okay.
And he's got that weird cut, where the little circle, but he did start in Chicago. So it's kind of similar.
You do know your pizza.
I do. Literally, if somebody else had brought good pizza to LA, I would be sitting there eating like you guys.
Right.
It was a need.
Do you feel like, I would imagine a lot of the certainly when people bring their kids in, it's probably the first Chicago pizza they've ever had in their life. So that must be a cool thing.
Yeah, it's really cool to have people, who some people, we fall into categories of either their parents grew up in Chicago and they're bringing them for the first time. They visited Chicago one time and went to Gino's and thought it was amazing, even though they really went to Giordano's and they were but people make mistakes, but then like Angelino's, who we've gotten some really great like social media stuff where like one day, like all of a sudden, like groups of 10 and 12 and 13 are showing up, and this guy had posted who had like 1.3 million followers, and it's like, thank you. So Angelino's have really embraced it again because it's not good pizza.
Yeah.
Well, and we've been on KTLA many times because they tend to like it too.
Yeah.
It's
Let me
great.
stress, by the way, because I don't want, if this happens just in different directions all the time, I can't get a breakfast burrito in New York City to save my life. So there's a lot of things in Los Angeles that I wish we could have.
Oh, tacos, right? I mean,
in general,
is there a good taco in New York?
No, still not.
Not in the zip code of what LA is doing.
Yeah, not close. So, okay. Well, kumbaya.
Yeah.
We all get along.
Right.
So you guys brought some desserts
We
as
got
well.
a little thing called the Eli's cheesecake going here.
It was famous for being at Eli's Steakhouse, which was right near the corner of Chicago and Michigan for many years.
Napkins.
And the steakhouse is gone, but the cheesecake lives on.
One more of that.
I'm going to have a bite of the cheesecake out of politeness, but I will say I do not have a sweet tooth.
Okay.
No.
And so I in general, like if it's where am I going to put my calories on a day like today?
It's going to be the pizza.
It's in the deep dish.
Yeah. And then you also brought the Frango mints, which of course are famous Marshall Fields mints, but Marshall Fields doesn't exist anymore. But
we got them.
They're still manufactured.
These are very good cheesecake.
So.
These are great. I love these. They melt in your mouth.
For you guys.
And don't worry, we'll have pizza for you guys too.
Oh, yeah. One more thing we brought.
Yeah. Oh, one.
Do you know about Malort?
I don't know about it.
Oh,
It was
Tell
a
us about
medicinal
Malort.
alcohol that started out in the early 20th century. Was able to be legal during Prohibition because it was medicinal. Was manufactured in Chicago. And I think I went out of business in 2012, and somebody put out some Malort T-shirts. And I think the people who owned it sued them, and then the people who made the shirts bought it and kind of rebranded it. So it's become a real hipster kind of thing where it is truly horrible.
It is 90% of it is sold in Cook County. So they can't even, they don't even want to leave the borders of Chicago. But it is a true Chicago test of your metal.
Your fortitude,
Yeah. So if you're about 30 years old right now, you think this has been like this forever, but it hasn't. You drink it, and it won't leave your mouth for days.
Wow, you guys are really giving it a sales pitch.
And like I said, go to YouTube and put in first Malort tasting, and there's some very funny videos.
Yeah. Right before they went blind.
Yeah.
Well, sorry I missed that portion of the Chicago history. Completely did not
You
know
sell
about
Malort at the restaurant?
We don't.
Yeah.
We some improvers brought us.
Oh, that's very nice.
A bottle of it, probably just to see our reaction to it. But yeah, because we don't have a full liquor license, but we, occasionally somebody will go, "Oh, I really, really miss Malort," and we'll go, "Let's see how much
Even
you
the
miss."
smell.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, sure.
I would imagine. Yeah, so you have your beer and wine.
We have beer and wine. We have
And what's that?
312.
It's like 85% beer. Would you say?
Yeah. Goose Island. We sell a lot of Goose
Oh, that's
Island.
good. Goose is great.
Because it's Chicago.
I
I
mean-
mean, people really come in and they're like, I feel like I'm home. And that's the beauty of it is just, and people like meet people who they knew from back there. It's kind of like an incredibly weird little, cult of Chicagoans that we've managed to.
But even people who don't know each other, it's a cozy place, and they end up talking to each other and sometimes sharing food, and it's very un-LA like.
And you guys have done like Northwestern gatherings. You show the games during the fall.
All the football games, we did the basketball games too.
All right.
Especially since they made the tournament twice.
I know.
Made the tournament. Yeah. Very exciting for me. One of my, it's not that exciting because it means I'm old, but one of my best college friends' son was Willie the Wildcat this year.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's at school. One of my best friends was Willie the Wildcat, and it was she did it for 3 years and loved it. So it's a very special gig.
I've got to see my first Northwestern tournament basketball game. I mean, there have only been 6.
I was going to say, that's,
Yeah.
But I went, they were in Brooklyn, and I unfortunately missed the Thursday game, and I went to the Northwestern UConn game, and it was so exciting. Just that moment of you're in the Barclays Center, your school is playing, and then at the first time out, it was 18-4.
yeah.
I was like, this felt like a Northwestern sports in the 90s.
It's like going to that game, you knew it just wasn't. But
yeah.
have a good
You know
time.
what, though? The nice thing was I didn't know. The nice thing is the teams are good enough now that you think, maybe. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's the generational divide. Like what these two don't know is back in the day when we went to the football games and threw marshmallows at each other.
I think that's right.
And
And you're like the only one in the stadium, and it's 20 below wind chill, and because there aren't other people blocking you, you got to be. I saw 4 winds in the entire time I was there.
Yeah.
We were really bad then.
yeah, that was like early 80s.
Imagine
Like,
how cold it's
Yeah,
going to
late
be
70s, early 80s.
when they're going to be on the actual lake this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be the
Yeah, that's
coldest.
crazy.
It's going to be crazy.
yeah. Well, good times.
Yeah.
Well, this was awesome. Thank you for the food.
You're very welcome.
Gino's East. Go over to Sherman Oaks and grab some Chicago pizza. Voted best in LA by people. We'll just take you for your word.
LA Times.
The LA Times
Times,
readers, all 18 of them.
I had no expectation that I was going to eat both pieces of pizza you gave me. But Mike, can you confirm for the listeners that is exactly what happened?
It is and we've got photos, video proof as well. There are empty plates here. You still have some Italian beef and a
That I
hot
can
dog,
do.
but you can take that
I'm glad
on
I
the
said
plane.
I was very excited about the Italian, but I knew the pizza was coming, and so I feel like I coursed it out well.
Yeah, and I think Mike Shoemaker's here. I think he wanted a slice as well.
Insisted
So
on it.
yeah, we saved him a slice. So there's plenty to go around. Well, as always, Seth,
Thanks for having me.
congrats on turning 50 as well.
Yeah.
More importantly, congrats on 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
10 years.
10 years of late night.
And just beginning. You're
Just a
you're a-
spring
a
chicken.
fourth of the way there.
Yeah.
So here's to the next 10.
Thanks, guys.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's Seth Meyers. Watch Late Night with Seth Meyers weeknights at 12:37 a.m. on NBC or anytime on Peacock or the social media of your choice. And that's it for this edition of Variety's Award Circuit Podcast. Aaron Greenewald edited this episode, and Michael Schneider is the producer. Be sure to subscribe to the Award Circuit Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you download podcasts. Also, head on over to Variety.com and click on the Award Circuit tab to find the latest awards predictions in key races, as well as your daily fix of news, analysis, and reviews. For Jazz Tanke, Emily Longaretta, and Clayton Davis, I'm Michael Schneider, and we'll see you on the circuit.